How Deep the Father's Love was probably the first hymn-like song that I'd written. I wrote it some time ago, and up to that point I'd probably only written really what you might call modern worship songs in a more contemporary style. This melody just kind of popped out of my head one day, and you know, I wasn't listening to anything in particular or whatever. It was a very easy melody. It just came really easily and quite spontaneously in some ways. And you know, I was aware that it was quite hymn-like in a way, and thought, I wonder what words would fit with that. First of all, I was not sure whether it's because it came so easily. Quite often you think, has this, you know, is this somebody else's melody that I've accidentally borrowed? Because quite often when you're listening to stuff, you kind of, maybe unconsciously sometimes, absorb some of that, and then it might pop out again at a later point. And I thought, oh, maybe this belongs to someone else. So I kind of like listened to all the music I'd listened to over the last few months to see whether I'd nicked it, and played it for some other people. But it seemed like it was an original thing. So I started kind of thinking about words for it. And because it had a kind of classic hymn-like element to it, I thought, well, maybe I should actually just tell the story of Christ on the cross. But tell it perhaps from the point of view, and this is what I was thinking about at the time, was what it cost the Father to give the Son. You know, we often think about Christ's suffering. And there's a lot of talk at the moment about the wrath of God, and, you know, is that right to think that the Father's wrath was poured out on Christ? And I think that is right to say that. But that's not to say that God is a vengeful God, that actually it cost him to give up his Son. So that's why the first line says, how deep the Father's love, you know, that he should give his only Son. And so that really was the starting place. And then, in a sense, the second verse kind of develops my complicity in it, if you like, that actually it was my sin that held him there. He went to the cross because of what I'd done. So although it tells the story, it is telling the story from a personal viewpoint. And then the final verse goes into, so, you know, I won't boast in anything except what he has done for me. So really that's the thinking of the words. Melodically, it came quite spontaneously. As usual, I find with the words, takes a bit of crafting, takes a bit of work, rewrites and stuff like that. So it probably took a few days to come together. But it kind of felt, it settled in a good way in terms of feeling that it had a personal perspective, but it was pointing towards Christ. And that's how the song came together. And it's been interesting to see the response, that actually it's quite useful, not only in the more modern contemporary churches, but in the more traditional churches as well, because of the style. And I'm kind of excited about that. I'm excited about the fact that you can write something that actually feeds the broader church, rather than just particular musical pockets of the church. And that's something that motivates me, and probably why I've thought more and more about writing hymns, is I'd like to be able to try and feed, if you like, the whole church, not just part of it.